KVUE Defenders investigate Texas politicians flying fancy planes, where they go and why. Well, yesterday we told you that TxDOT owns 4 private jets that are supposed to be used only for official state business.
Well, now we're looking at whether some lawmakers used the travel perk for personal or political gain. Here's investigative reporter Jeremy Rogowski.
We went through hundreds of flight logs and social media posts and found state leaders who flew to attend family graduations and one high-profile lawmaker who took a trip and raised thousands for his own political campaign. Speaker of the Texas House, Dade Phelan, didn't tell the whole story when he hopped aboard a state jet after a conference in Austin.
Sellout crowd is gathered.
We found he caught a college football game in Lubbock, writing "Beautiful Day" for Wreckham versus Hookham. And he held a political fundraiser, pumping at least $37,000 into his campaign.
The main concern here is that you would want just greater transparency to the public.
Beyond transparency, there's Texas law, which says the state may not provide aircraft transportation to someone who has attended an event at which money is raised for private or political purposes.
A public official should serve the public interest.
UH Professor Dan Angster is an expert on ethics and leadership.
The ethical thing to do is to use public aircraft for public purposes and to follow these regulations.
Phelan's office told us he always makes every good faith effort to remain in compliance with state law and ethics rules. But it's not just political. We found other flights that were more family affairs than official state business, like State Representative Jay Dean's trip for a meeting. It was a relative's high school graduation. On Facebook, Dean posted, "So grateful to get home for my grandson."
It was stunning to see this level of the blurring of the line between public and private.
What's more, Dean paid for the flight with campaign funds, which cannot be spent for personal use. His office defended the trip, saying taxpayers did not bear the travel costs, and at the graduation, many constituents and local officials were on hand.
This does not pass the sniff test.
Something KVUE political analyst Brandon Rottinghouse doesn't buy.
There are always going to be other constituents around, but the fact that he had family that was there, there's definitely a crossing of that line.
After the graduation, the flight log shows Representative Dean rushed back to Austin the same night. Why? He and his colleagues were needed on the House floor the next day for an historic event, the impeachment proceedings of Attorney General Ken Paxton. But we found another Texas lawmaker who flew out of town on a state jet didn't make it back. State Rep Cole Hefner said he was going on state business when he flew from Austin to Mount Pleasant that afternoon.
The House will come to order.
But oddly enough, the official record shows him on the House floor at 1:03 while he was still in the air. So, how could he be in 2 places at once?
Can I ask you if you're recording right now?
We are.
Okay.
Hefner's office never gave us an explanation. But we found that supposed state business flight landed in time for his daughter's graduation.
This was a historic impeachment vote. This was something where you wanted to have members on hand. Being on the ground was critical in this period.
Perhaps that's why Representative Hefner tried to return to the Capitol. He's a registered pilot, and records show Hefner's single-engine plane took off from Mount Pleasant just after 3 o'clock and didn't arrive in Austin until 4:45, the same time as the impeachment vote.
Given these records, there's simply just no way he could have been there.
But even more odd, the record shows Hefner did vote. So what gives? Take a look. Another lawmaker reaches over to Hefner's empty desk to cast his vote. Here it is again. Hefner's not there, so his colleague punches the button.
This is called ghost voting.
Ghost voting.
Yeah.
Rottinghouse says it's actually a common practice, but usually when lawmakers need to take a call or bathroom break and briefly step away.
The rules are clear that the member has to be in the building.
Would ghost voting, in your opinion, ever be acceptable for a vote of this importance?
This was definitely the biggest vote of that session, if not the decade. And to miss it is abdication of your duties.
Period.
Records show taxpayers paid for Hefner's state-operated flight. The cost, more than $1,000. And back to Speaker Dade Phelan, a spokesperson told us his flight was paid by Texas Tech University donors. And while in Lubbock, The lawmaker discussed the university's legislative priorities. But again, the law says if you take a state plane and raise campaign funds on that trip, that is a no-no. For the KVUE Defenders, I'm Jeremy Rogowski.
If you have a tip you'd like the KVUE Defenders to investigate, send an email to defenders@kvue.com. Or you can call or text the number that's on your screen, 512-533-2231.